Welcome to a 4th level fighter playthrough of Vaesen, the Dance of Dreams. Now, we have played this once before. We played the mystery, The Song of the Falling Star. That was run by someone we found on Start Playing. This is one that we're going to run ourselves. It may be a little different. One thing about our first session is it wasn't particularly spooky or scary or suspenseful, and that just came down to the style of the game master, I think. However, we're going to lean more heavily into that aspect and probably less into the mystery. There's different things you can focus on this game. You can focus on the horror, the suspense, or the mystery, and we're going to focus a little bit more on the horror and suspense and a little less on trying to solve the mystery, but there still will be a mystery here. So before we get started, I'm going to have you guys just briefly introduce your characters, and I will mention that we're using the pre-generated characters, and we're using Alchemy VTT as our tabletop. So Stir Fry, why don't you start? You're playing Franz Almklint.
Yes, I am playing Franz Almklint. He is a retired sailor. He was part of the Navy, and
the Swedish Navy?
I would assume so. And he gained the sight when his ship was taken down by a sea monster, and he performed a valiant act of heroism, saving his crew. And now he is after malicious Vaesen. Investigating them.
So you're not necessarily trying to help Vaesen, but you're trying to halt malicious Vaesen. Is that correct?
Indeed.
Okay. And then Miss Pick, you're playing Valentina Backlund, an occultist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about Valentina.
So Valentina is a young psychic who was given the sight when she was attacked by a bird. And
what kind of bird?
I believe it was a raven, who gave her a disease, and she got the sight. Her goal is to understand more about herself and this gift that she has.
So it's more a journey of self-discovery and less trying to prevent the Vaesen from causing mischief and trouble. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you guys have kind of opposite goals, but you're working together because you both have what's called the sight. And with the sight, you can see these strange supernatural creatures called the Vaesen. Also, I've heard it pronounced Vaesen and Vaesen, and I'm pretty sure it's Vaesen, but it may not be. That's how we're going to call it. So because you have the sight, you can see these things that other people cannot. You may be in a room and you may see one of these strange creatures, but people without the sight might feel a draft, or they might notice that the candles begin to flicker a little bit, and it's just one of those unexplained things to them. They don't know what causes it. However, you can see the huge monster in the room that's, creeping towards you, claws extended kind of thing. So there is a whole backstory in Vaesen that you are part of an organization called the Society, and we're going to kind of gloss over that and not really use that in this scenario. We'll just kind of start in media res, in the middle of things. You guys are on a journey, and this journey begins in a carriage ride. You're going from the city of Uppsala. You're heading south. I've got a map here. So here we have Uppsala in the north. You're heading south along this road down in the direction of the village of Sigtuna, but you're going to stop at a place called the Witch Cat Inn. And the Witch Cat Inn is your destination. You've never been there before, but you were invited there. Now, you receive an invitation, and let me just bring it up on the screen here. It says, "The Dance of Dreams, a shadow play of horror, murder, and revenge. Let yourself be enraptured and terrified by shadow theater with clockwork as amazing as that of the master's constructions on the continent. Watch as evil smiles, good people go to their doom, and spirits come to life. Follow Oskar Hjort's encounter with the Black One, his struggle, and finally the betrayal which claimed his life. Hear the tunes of the enchanted flute that sends souls dancing to hell. The show will premiere shortly at the Witch Cat Inn, not for the faint of heart. And then in another handwriting is scrawled, Meet me tonight at the Witch Cat Inn, Olaus. Some gentleman named Olaus has summoned you to the Witch Cat Inn. This looks like this is some sort of advertisement for a shadow play. If you are not familiar with shadow plays, your character certainly would be. A shadow play is like a puppet theater using paper or other designs that are backlit, so all you see is the black shadows. You don't see the actual puppets, and so those shadows seem to come to life. Some of these are attached to clockwork mechanisms. They can be cranked, and it looks as though they're dancing around the scene.
Well, this sounds like a delightful little encounter, and perhaps this Olas fellow has some insight into some sort of a mystery for us to look into. I say this is an excellent idea, and we should head down there with haste.
Well, allow me to just briefly describe your journey, if you will. The journey is only about 3.5 hours. It does not take long. It is fall when you leave Uppsala in a coach heading south, and there is a terrible storm raging. Black clouds blanket the sky, and the wind howling, and rain and hail pouring down, leaving you soaked to the skin. Lightning cracks across the sky, and thunder makes the horses rear and whinny, but the coachman drives them on with his whip. The journey takes 3.5 hours, and the storm grows increasingly violent as you progress. Through the coach window you see Lake Malar to the west, its foaming waves splashing against the shoreline. Traveling through a pine forest, you see tall trees being knocked to the ground by tempestuous winds or split by lightning strikes. In the flashes of lightning you see large rocks among the trees, moss-covered lumps staring back at you. Suddenly, the Witch Cat Inn appears at a T-junction, surrounded by woods. Oh, this is not the one. Hang on. That's not the one I want. Actually, maybe it is. Yes, there we go. The Witch Cat Inn appears at a T-junction surrounded by woods with Lake Malar to the north and west. It seems to be the only building around. The coachman is eager to drop you off and continue on his route south to Sigtuna. Halfway between the inn and the small community in the distance, you see a lonely church tower protruding from the trees. You notice that the grounds are overgrown, as though no one has tended the garden. No one has tended the trees. The leaves are heavy and hang down. You notice the building is in a state of ill repair. There is rain trickling through the roof tiles. Some of the floorboards on the porch are loose. A man smoking a pipe waves at you as you leave the carriage. And as he approaches to introduce himself, you have a brief momentary flashback to your time before you arrived on the carriage. Now, during this flashback, you're going to get what's called an advantage. So during this session, you'll be able to get a +2 to any one die roll that you like. Now, the rules state that it should be applied to a specific skill. The way we played before is we just got a generic +2 whenever we wanted it. How would you like to play? Would you like to choose a skill now that you can modify at some point, or would you rather just kind of have that in your pocket for when you think you need it?
I think it'd be best if we announced what we were going to have prepared beforehand now. I think Franz, perhaps, ever since his first encounter with a Vaesen, has always traveled prepared, and perhaps earlier that morning he sighted in his rifle so that if things should come to a dangerous encounter, he would be able to be accurate and not fail in that respect.
Excellent. So that will adjust like your ranged combat skill. So one time during this session, you'll get a +2 to that. And how about you, Valentina?
Well, Valentina is already very wary and watchful of what's going on around her. So she would like to have the advantage for investigation.
Excellent.
Because she's always looking out for something, always looking for the details in every situation.
Now, it is assumed that before you arrived, you were in Uppsala when you received the invitation. You may have spent some time searching for clues. You've got clues like the Witch Cat Inn. You've got this man named Olaus. You've got information, something about shadow plays. And so it's almost like you went to the library and did some research. If you would both like to make a learning roll, we can determine what it was that you both were able to learn. If you get any successes. So Franz got a success. So Franz, you know through maybe a contact that there is a private detective in town named Olaus Klint. He has a small house in the middle of the city. Olaus has made a name for himself as an expert in cases involving the occult. You also learned that the Witch Cat Inn is at a crossroads north of Sigtuna. When the society was rebuilt after the Great Ulu Fire at the end of the 18th century, the inn was used as a gathering place, as the innkeeper at the time, Piri Harjula, was what's known as a Thursday's child, or someone that has the sight. Today the inn is run by Piri's grandson, Sami Harjula. Now, Miss Pick, you were able to learn a little bit about shadow theater, and you learned that it originated in India and China, where it was practiced several centuries before the birth of Christ. Cut-out paper figures are held up to a source of light which creates shadows on a cloth screen. A skilled puppeteer can manipulate the puppets and the light so that the figures appear to be alive. The art form came to Italy in the 18th century and continued to spread across Europe. Artists in England and France have experimented with clockworks to create automated shadow theaters. When Olaus greets you at the Witch Cat Inn, he is out smoking. He tells you that the flyer he sent you about the Dance of Dreams has been spread all across Uppsala. And he says, I must inform you that passing travelers allegedly have had strange dreams here at the inn. The rumor is that the building is in the grip of magical powers.
Well, Franz, Olaus, Franz will ask, do you have any evidence to support these claims that you found? You are, after all, a renowned investigator. Have you looked into it yourself?
Well, I visited the inn a few days ago, and I felt a power that frightened me. And I want you to help me figure out what is going on. Surely there is something afoot, something of the occult.
Well, I always am willing to help where there are the occult and Vaesen involved. Tell me, what would you have us do?
Well, we must find out exactly what lurks here. I have not seen any such thing as we all have the sight, but something is happening to travelers, and I think that with the three of us combined, we would form a formidable team to investigate this. Now, Valentina, you're being awfully quiet. I'm going to have you make an observation roll. Excellent. So you're being quiet probably because you're thinking like, this place looks really run down. Yes. This is not a nice place. This is not the sort of place you're used to staying. You're used to maybe some finer establishments. This is like a really run down, like 1-star review sort of place. It's clearly in a state of disrepair. Please, come in. And he walks up to the front door, opens the door, and invites you inside the inn.
Well, yes, of course. I think before the show that Franz, being as hungry as he is, would like to obtain a meal and perhaps a drink before we do any investigating, and warm himself after standing out in the chill weather
Yes, yes, of course. You go inside the inn, and you see a few people in here. Let me just pull up some pictures right here. Oh, here's a picture of Olaus Klint, the man that you're speaking with. As he walks in, his pipe continues to bloom out fragrant, aromatic smoke. Behind the counter at the inn, you see Sami Harjula, his stern face glaring almost as you enter. He seems to be looking at Olaus as though like he's thinking, oh, this guy's back again, and he brought someone with him. Olaus looks at you. Yes, yes. Well, what can I do for you? Well, speak up.
Well, I would very much like to obtain a meal, my good sir.
A meal? We've the finest meal this side of Zigtuna. Have a seat. I'll fetch my daughter. She will help you. Sophia, come, quickly.
Yes, Sophia, over here. The food is mine. Yes.
Yes. Sophia, a young girl of 16, comes up. She's very quiet, very meek, and she sets down a few tankards of ale at your table. Yes, my father will get the food. Is there anything else that you require?
Tell me now that you're here. Has there been any strange happenings about the inn? I do find the place quite enchanting, and I wondered how your past few weeks have been. How have you been doing?
Oh, I've been doing fine. Everything's fine. Yes, there's nothing's wrong. Everything's good. Thank you.
Could I make an insight roll to see if they're lying?
Make an observation roll.
Observation.
As far as you know, she just seems to be incredibly shy. She looks as though she is almost somewhat frightened, though. Sami comes out bearing a large platter of food. He sets it on the bar. Sophia, get over here. Give this to our guests now. And as she runs over and gets the food, she brings it over to your table, and you can hear the cutlery almost clattering as she sets it down, as though she is somewhat frightened. Now, also in the room, there are a few other people here. There is a man, he looks to be a farmer, kind of an older gentleman, and he is sitting at a table nearest the bar. And there is also an old, aged priest, and he kind of waves at you as you enter, and you see him just smearing some butter over some hard rye bread.
Well, perhaps I could, once I've finished my meal, go over and greet the priest and just say, Father, what brings you here to the Witch Cat Inn?
I am Father Niels. I work at the Bilby Church just down the road. It's just a short distance, less than a 2-mile walk. Why I sound Irish, I don't know, but it is not far from here. You're more than welcome to come to the church. This is a great place. The food is wonderful. You may notice though that this inn has deteriorated somewhat over the last year. The roof leaks, boards break, the garden has become overgrown. Despite the fact that the master of the house works hard to maintain the inn, it is almost like the witch cat is accursed. And you see the other man seated at a table nearest the bar, kind of shake his head and chuckle to himself as he shovels a fork full of boiled cabbage into his mouth.
Seeing this, I will say, friend, what do you have to say about this?
Friend? I am no friend of yours. Who are you to be my friend?
Well, I am Franz Almklint, hero of the Swedish Navy, and who are you to be so rude to me and my friend, the father here?
Give me a roll. I'm going to have it... I'm not sure what I would have you roll here. Let's maybe...
A physique roll, perhaps?
No, if you're trying to be imposing, otherwise perhaps like maybe a manipulation roll. Well, I do have time for someone in the Navy. Please, do sit down. Pardon my brusqueness. It's been a long day. I've not been sleeping well.
Well, that is certainly understandable. A working man as yourself. Just work stresses. What's been causing these problems?
Oh, since the beginning of the year, guests at the inn have suffered terrible nightmares. I myself, I have dreamed that someone is cutting my throat with a knife, that I'm being buried alive, that my best friend is the devil. And he looks over at Peary, Sammy, the innkeeper, and says, or that I'm on stage when suddenly another actor stabs me with what turns out to be a real knife, the audience applauding as I die. Horrible, horrible things.
Indeed, this does sound terrible. When did these dreams start?
Oh, it's been for near a year. I've not slept well in quite some time. Poor Sammy here at the inn, he is my best friend, and his wife Nora, well, she had an interest in things that were unknown, you see, and at the start of the year she saw a strange figure in the night and claimed to hear footsteps. At the same time she had a fight with Sammy about inviting actors and singers into the inn. Sammy detests all forms of art, does he? He said no, but something happened that escalated the conflict, and Sammy beat her on several occasions. Eventually she had enough, left with the theatre troupe. And last summer, Sammy, my poor friend, he received word that his wife had died of cholera in a sick bed. Aye, he locked the door to Nora's room after she left. He's not allowed anyone in there since. But don't mention this to him. He's quite sensitive about it, you see.
Certainly, just between us.
Yes.
Well, please enjoy your meal. I must get back to my friends. Father, good evening, and I will head
Good
back.
evening to you, sir. Again, I sound Irish even though I'm Swedish.
And I will
My
go
mother
back
was
to-
Irish.
I will go back to the table and say I was speaking to some folks over there, and it sounds like Sammy, his these dreams that travelers have been having could be linked to something with his wife, I believe.
Yes, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation with those loud gentlemen. It seems to me that Sammy's wife, Nora, had interest in perhaps something that brought an unnatural force here. Perhaps a Vaesen.
And Olaus, his eyes widen. Yes, this is what I think as well. I think it is a Vaesen here. Surely, but I've not seen it. It must be here somewhere.
Well, my friend over there did mention that Sammy has locked his wife's room and not allowed anyone entrance. Perhaps this could be the source.
Oh, but I do not know that he will let a stranger into that room, the room of his dead wife. Surely he will not.
Well, and it was mentioned that he's rather sensitive about the subject. I don't know if it'd be the best idea to press him about it.
What do you suggest?
Well, I'm not sure exactly where the room is, but perhaps there's a window. We could have just a peek for ourselves and just see what might be going on here.
Well, we could go. We could rent some rooms here and go upstairs and probably find which room is hers, and then see if there's a window to the outside.
An excellent idea, Olaus. Sammy, yes, sir, I'd like to rent some rooms at your fine inn here.
What? Rent some rooms? I've rooms for rent. Have you money?
Oh, of course I do. What else do you expect me to pay you with?
Can you make a resources roll? Do you have that on alchemy?
I believe so. Let me check quickly.
You can roll one as well, Valentina. This is just to see if you have enough money to afford it, and you can combine your successes, but between the two of you, we only need one. Ah, there we go.
Alright then.
So I got a 3 success.
You got 3 successes?
Yes, capital, so I add 2
yes,
to my
yes,
number
yes.
of successes.
Thank you. So you wave your money clip about. Oh, yes, we've rooms for you. Would you like 2 rooms or 3?
I think 2 should suffice. 1 for myself, and then they can share, of course.
How kind of you.
When you're done with your dinner, you go upstairs, you see, and next to my room there'll be 3 rooms, and you can have them 3. But do not open any of the rooms on the other side of the hall, you see. Only your rooms.
Understood, good sir.
It had better be. The last person who did not understand, I threw him out the window.
Well, certainly you won't have any trouble from us. We're just simply wishing to stay at your fine establishment. And, say, there's been some flyers passed about. Perhaps you could enlighten me about some sort of shadow puppet show at your inn here. What is that all about?
Flyers, you say?
Indeed.
May I see this flyer? Have you with it on you? And you do.
Yes, I'll pull it out of my pocket and hand it to him.
He takes it in his hands, and you see his brow kind of crease as he reads, and his hands begin to make tight fists, and he's crumpling the paper slightly. I see. And he hands the paper back to you, still looking down at his fists as he rests them on the bar. Sophia! A word! And he stalks into the kitchen, and you see Sophia walking in kind of quiet, her shoulders rounded, and as soon as she walks in, the door to the kitchen closes. You hear a loud smack. And Sophia comes running out, holding the side of her face, and you can see blood trickling out from under her nose. And then he comes out again. There is no play here. This is just some tomfoolery.
Ah, I see. Someone messing with you, sir.
Yes. Had you not paid me already for the rooms, I might not let you stay here.
Well, I'm no fan of this devilry of puppet shows. I was just wondering why such a fine establishment might be hosting something like this.
We are not hosting anything of the sort. We do not believe in the arts or the crafts here in this place.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that, my friend. Well, thank you for your help here. I look forward to my stay at your fine inn.
Yes, well, just don't be bringing up any nonsense about no plays or no art or anything of the sort.
Of course. It never even came up.
Yeah, that's right. And he glares over at Sophia as she's scrubbing some stains off of a wooden table. Looks like it has been worn through the finish. She has scrubbed it so hard so many times. Clearly this is not the first time she's been smacked by her father.
So I'm going to see if I can just get a table in the room somewhere and try and call Sophia over just for to get another drink or something. And I just want to ask them, Sophia, just out of curiosity, I noticed that there was a room your father was reluctant to rent. Was this your mother's room, perhaps?
You see her eyes go wide, and she starts to shake her head no. Like, no. Do not ask about that room.
And it's nothing, I don't want to rent it, but if you could perhaps inform me, I would be inclined to give you a little something for your help.
Oh, it was my mother's. Please, do not go in there.
Oh, of
do
course.
not disturb it. My father would not take. He would not take well to that.
Oh, of course, I wouldn't dream of it. Just curious about the history of this fine inn.
Well, he takes it out on me, you see. Any time something goes bad here, he strikes me.
Well, this is very unfortunate. I'm sorry for your situation. Perhaps this will help, and I will give her a small bit of money. I'm not sure what type of money I would have.
Give me an empathy roll.
That will be 2 successes.
With 2 successes, she begins to soften. And she says, I've been having strange dreams. In the dreams, there's always a man. And they're always about this play. I have this urge to put on this play and show it to others, but my father, he does not understand. My mother and I, we shared an interest in the art and the occult. My dad hates all of that. I know it's because my mother cheated on him with an actor shortly before they got married. And my mother was collecting notes about the witch cat ghost in her room. She thought the house was haunted by one of Sammy's relatives. But the ghost started showing up at the beginning of the year.
Well, this is certainly interesting. Thank you for sharing. I won't say a word to your father.
Oh, thank you. Now, please, do not cause any trouble. Enough trouble has already been had.
Oh, yes, of course. I've taken too much of your time. You might as well get yourself back to your tasks.
And she quickly scurries into the kitchen where her dad kind of holds his hand like he's going to backhand her, and she goes through the door very quietly. Valentina, what do you do?
Well, after hearing about all of this from Sophia, Valentina says to the group, well, I think our best course of action would to investigate the room of Nora, her mother. I believe we could get more information from that.
If you go upstairs to investigate your sleeping quarters, as you mentioned you were going to do previously, you do see at the top of the stairs, it must be Nora's room. It is locked. Not that you would try to open it, but you can tell that it's not been disturbed in quite some time. And you can see the rooms that have been rented to you. There's windows in those rooms, but you know based on the layout now, the second floor where Nora's room likely is, and she should have a window. So if you go outside, you could try to find that window.
I think once it gets a little later and most of the patrons have already left the inn, I might see if Valentina will join me, and perhaps Olas as well, if he so chooses to, and we can head out here, and perhaps one of us wants to stay up here and keep watch, just in case Sammy becomes wise to our intentions here, and just see if we can find anything, perhaps peer through the window and see if there's anything strange going on in there.
So you're going to wait until nighttime?
Yes.
Okay. Anything that you do in the 4 or 5 hours before it gets dark?
Perhaps I will just head outside and just kind of look at what the side of the building looks like just while there's some daylight left, just to get an idea if it would be easy to climb up to that window or not.
Going outside, you see the window. It looks as though there are curtains that have been closed over the window. It would be possible to get up there, but the building is in a pretty bad state of ill repair, and so if you were to climb up there, there's a chance that you could fall through the roof, or break off some shingles, or break off part of the overhang of the roof, or it's not going to be, doesn't look super sturdy, but it is likely doable. You've probably climbed rigging on sailing vessels and would be skilled at climbing, but that it would be hard to do this quietly.
I see. Well, if that's all that Franz wanted to do before the evening.
What about Valentina? Anything that you wanted to do?
Valentina is just ready to go investigate. She's just waiting for her chance to do that.
Just waiting for nightfall?
Yes.
Okay. We'll say you pass the time. Maybe you go and rest in your room. You spend some time in the main dining room visiting with Olaus. A few other townspeople come in, particularly at dinner time as it gets dark outside. The dining room has 7 or 8 people in there, all eating Olaf's boiled cabbage with a little bit of mutton in there, some potatoes and carrots, and drinking his rather tepid ale. But it's the best thing in town, unless they want to take a long ride down to Zigtuna, or take the ferry across to the other town. Sometimes the worst that they have here at the Witch Cat Inn is the best available in town. As night begins to fall, something occurs. Let me just grab this real quick in the notes here. As you are just concluding dinner, the dining room is filled with laughter and conversation, and all of a sudden it begins to grow very quiet and very still. And you notice people, their heads nodding, and begin to lean forward and collapsing into a state of sleep. Only yourselves, Olaus, Sammy, and Sophia are awake. The light of all the lamps and the great fire in the hearth grows dim and takes on a bluish color, darkening the room. The fire still burns but gives no heat and barely any light. The temperature begins to drop until the entire inn is freezing cold. Your breath, you can see the mist as it comes out of your mouth. And Sammy and Sophia look around startled, and Sammy is trying to wake his friend Jonathan, shaking him, and he still will not awaken. You both need to make a fear roll. You can do an empathy or a logic. And you need to get one success.
Well, I have one success.
And I have none.
So, Valentina, you will take a mental condition. And when you reach 4 of those mental conditions, then you will be broken. You also need to roll 1d6. So if you click on the little symbol at the bottom, you can click on the dice, and then you can roll it, and that will roll the dice. This is how many rounds you are affected by this fear. And then just click on the big white circle again.
Yep.
Well, that was 2 dice. We'll take the first one. So 3. So for 3 rounds, you need to describe exactly what sort of fear you have. Do you faint? Do you scream? Do you try to run out of the room? Do you attack someone next to you? What sort of fear response do you have?
Well, Valentina will abruptly stand up in her chair. Maybe the chair falls backwards and
clatters to the ground.
Lands hard on the ground, and she clutches her cloak close to her and backs up towards the door to exit the building, and kind of pushes her back up against the door and just cowering against the wall.
What does Franz do?
I would say, Olaus, will you go, please, comfort her and make sure that she is all right. And then I will turn to Sammy and say, Sammy, what is the meaning of this?
I do not know. This has never happened before. You brought this in here, didn't you?
How would I have brought this in here?
Oh, it is you and that Olaus. You brought this upon us. And then he looks at Sophia. Or was it you? And his eyes begin to take on a murderous glare.
Sammy, calm yourself. This is no one's doing. This is no one here's fault.
Give me an empathy roll. Okay. You manage to calm him down. And his breathing begins to get a little slower. Why will they not wake up? They are asleep. What has happened? Wake up! And he's shaking his friend Jonathan. Help me get them up, quickly.
Very well, and I help him wake Jonathan.
So it takes about 5 minutes, and then you're finally able to get Jonathan roused. And as soon as he wakes up, you see like a flutter of his eyelids, and he goes back to laughing. He had stopped mid-laugh. He goes back completely to laughing as though he had just hit pause on his life, and now it comes back, and he is completely unaware that he has been asleep. And the other people, all of a sudden the roar of conversation begins to fill the room. The glow from the fire and the lamps is no longer bluish. It takes on a warm orangish glow, and you can feel the heat from the fire again permeating the room. By now you have recovered from your bout of fear. But it was quite a thing for you to witness, and you wonder if there isn't some fell spirit responsible for this.
Say, Sammy, you said this has never happened before.
Never.
Well, as long as it doesn't happen again, I'm sure we'll be all right.
I don't know what it was. It wasn't the food and it wasn't the drink. So don't go thinking it was anything of the sort.
Well, of course not. I had your food and your drink, and I was fine.
Yes, you were. So, let's just not talk about it anymore.
Very well.
And then he says in a loud voice, "No one talks about it in here, or there'll be no food or drink for you." And everyone kind of agrees, "Oh, whatever, nothing happened," they say. And Sophia kind of peers out at you both from the kitchen, and you can see a look of fear and sadness in her eyes.
So maybe Valentina will try to catch her eye and maybe wave her out onto the table.
Give me a manipulation roll. I don't think you had a success this whole game, have
I
you?
have not. No.
I think you just more scare her than anything.
No, it just takes a little bit more patience, but you manage to get her out, and she's very very frightened, but she takes comfort because you're a younger woman, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and so she sees in you a kindred spirit, someone that she can speak to. And she comes up and says, I really think that you should see the play I've been working on.
I would love to. That is the reason I have come here.
Tonight, after my father goes to bed, knock on my room, we'll go up into the attic, and I will show you this play.
Well, I would be honored to see it.
Thank you. Now, don't let my father see us talking.
Of course.
He will suspect something. And she scurries back to go and bus some tables. Olaus looks at Franz and Valentina. I told you something is wrong here. Something is very wrong. I don't know what it is. What could have caused that?
I don't know, Olaus, but perhaps tonight, if you will help me, we could... I believe it's linked to Sammy's wife. Perhaps if we investigate her room tonight, under the cover of darkness, we might be able to find something that could help us uncover this mystery here.
There must be a key here somewhere to that door, or I suppose you could force your way in. But either way, one of us should keep watch. I'll keep watch, and you go about the dirty work.
Very well. That is a good idea. I didn't consider that myself. Perhaps if we could acquire a key, that would make this task much easier. I was originally considering crawling through the window, but that might make too much noise.
Well, but stealing the key might prove difficult in and of itself. I don't know that there's any one right way to do this.
Well, I have just made plans with the innkeeper's daughter to meet with her later tonight. Perhaps she has an idea of where this key to the room could be?
Yes, we could certainly ask her. I think I'm going to go and lie down for a moment. I'm a bit overcome by everything that has happened. Please let me know when you need me to watch, and I will keep close watch and make sure that no one disturbs you while you're going in the room and looking for clues.
Very well. Say, Valentina, you seem to have made friends with this innkeeper's daughter. Perhaps you could acquire the location of this key.
Well, sure.
Do you go and ask this of her?
Yes, I believe I will.
So, because she is trusting of you, I'm going to give you a bonus on a manipulation roll. So you'll get to add an extra die to it. I'm not sure how to do that. If you can't, just roll it and then roll an extra die.
Okay.
And I should have given you the opportunity when you failed that last roll to push the roll. I didn't discuss that, so we'll... So I don't think that's your old roll. I think you need to do another I don't think it did another...
Well, it did the 3,
Yeah.
but you could just push the 3 and we'll take this best option.
Let me just...
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you got a success. What do you ask her?
So yes, I will approach her. Sophia, I have a rather sensitive ask that I have for you. You see, me and my friends here are sort of investigating this inn and the strange happenings around here, and well, I was maybe wondering, your mother, she seems to have quite a prominent part in this, and it would help us greatly in our investigations if we could perhaps have access to her room. And well, I was wondering if maybe you could provide us with the key.
Well, I don't have the key. My dad has it on his key ring. He wears it on his belt. I could try to distract him, but someone would have to get that key off of his belt.
Well, I think I will be able to come up with something. I greatly appreciate your help, Sophia, and I would like to emphasize that I'm only here to help you, and you can trust in me. I'm a friend to you.
I do. That's why I want to show you my play. I think that it's important that you see it, you specifically.
Really? Well,
Yes.
I will be glad to see it.
So do you try to pick the pocket of Sammy?
Well, I do have a skill. I believe conjuring tricks is what it's called.
Okay.
Maybe I have a pendulum or something that I can hypnotize Sammy with and take the key to the room.
So do you go up to like the bar where he's at and do this, or do you wait for him to walk by?
I will maybe wait for him to walk by. I don't want to draw attention to what I'm about to do.
Maybe he comes by with a little bit of, or maybe some wine after your meal, and as he comes by, you produce this pendulum and begin to swing it, and you get his attention, and say, see here, look, notice how it glistens in the light, and go ahead and make your roll. So with your talent, I think you roll
It is
stealth.
Yes.
Which you're much better at than manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
One
success. He is enthralled by this pendulum, and he's watching it, and you can see his eyes following the movements. This is the chance. Do you want to try and grab that key? You're quite good at stealth. I think you could do quite well with this.
Yes, so I will make a reach for the key.
Okay.
And one success.
You manage to obtain the key without him noticing. He is completely focused on the movement of the pendulum as you reach around and you grab the key ring. There are several keys on there, but one of them has a little red ribbon tied onto it, and you know that must be the key to Nora's room. And as you slide the key kind of off of the ring, you manage to palm it in your hand and place it into your pocket. Now, how do you end the pendulum moment here?
I will grab the pendulum with my other hand that is not swinging it and sort of pocket it away in one swift motion.
Just give me a precision roll with one bonus dice. Well, you don't even need the bonus die. You got the success there. So you manage to, in one smooth motion, kind of scoop it up with your hand and pocket it, and then reveal that your hands are empty. And he looks at you for a moment and kind of shakes his head in a daze. Wait, what happened?
Something wrong, sir?
He kind of rubs his head. I I fear I may have been dozing off like everyone else was earlier. I'm going to go sit down. And he goes back behind the bar, and you see him sit in a seat, and he's kind of rubbing his forehead with his hands, as though he just experienced something that he cannot explain. Almost a state of mild hypnosis. But you have the key.
Yes, so I will tell my companion that I have acquired the key.
Ah, well done, Valentina. This will be most useful. I will no longer have to scale the side of the building to see what lies within this room. I know that you already have plans this evening, so me and Olas can handle this while you go about your business.
Well, thank you greatly. And I will, I guess, sort of hand the key to him under the table.
And he will pocket it.
Okay, you have the key. The hour begins to draw late. People have begun to leave the inn. Sophia heads up to her room, and Sammy is just kind of putting away the last little remnants of dinner, making sure it's all cleaned up, and tells you he's going to lock the door for the night and bid you all a good night as he stokes the fire one last time, and then goes upstairs to sleep. What now?
Alright then, so I will, I guess, sort of follow Sophia up the stairs and maybe knock on her door and just, I guess, quietly announce myself through her door so she knows that it's me coming to see her.
It's just a few moments. You hear the rustling of blankets, and then she comes and opens the door and smiles at you. Yes, yes. Would you like to see the shadow play?
And I will give her a kind smile and nod my head.
Where is your companion? Will he come with us as well?
No, it will be just you and me tonight.
Okay, then come with me. And she leads you over to a trap door in the ceiling that leads up into the attic. She reaches up and pulls down the rope that holds it up, and a ladder slides down, and she bids you to climb the ladder with her up into the darkened attic. She lights a small oil lamp in this cluttered, dirty, dingy room, and as you come through the trap door, off to one side, to the western wall, she has a small shadow theater set up, and she has a rug in front of it and asks you to please be seated.
So I will take a seat on the rug.
Excellent. Now, what is Franz doing during this?
Well, Franz is going to rouse his companion, Olas, and make sure that he is keeping watch, while Franz is going to use this key to enter Nora's room and investigate.
Franz will get up and he will sit out in the hallway so that if Sammy comes out of his room...
Well, Olas will do that?
Yeah, Olas will. So that if Sammy comes out of his room, he can alert you by saying, "Oh, Sammy, I need... there's something in my room." He says, if you hear me talking out loud, then Sammy's out and about. You go and try the key. It fits, and the door opens easily. As you open the door and walk into the room, you feel a tingling sensation in your body. Give me an observation roll. I'm going to send you something. Oh, let's see. Well, let me send it. don't think it will let me send it. Okay. Well, I'll send it to you another way, maybe over Discord or something, but you should get something that you can read, and you can act upon that information. Now, let's go back to the attic while this is happening. So in the attic, Valentina, you get yourself comfortable. Sophia cranks up the clockwork mechanism and begins to tell her story, and her voice grows increasingly strong and deep until it is clear that it is not her voice at all, but the voice of a man, echoing as if it comes from the bottom of a hole. Sophia's gaze is fixed on a certain part of the ceiling, and her body loses all tension except for the arm turning the crank, which seems to be moving by itself as if suspended with invisible wires from the ceiling. A young man wanders through Europe, seeing things few people are fortunate enough to witness. He dances with queens and visits Versailles and the Palais Royal. There people perform his plays and praise his name, and life dances along like a dream. But the people's revolution sweeps the land with grenades and fire, and those who were playing and singing end up dead by the side of the road. The young man flees the song of the guillotine. Our hero returns home to a city in the north. He walks through its gates without shoes, poor and mute. The house where he was born is burnt to ashes, and his family is missing. He kneels by the side of the road, begging for coin, and no one knows that his name was once sung in the palaces of Europe. Suddenly he sees things no one else does, creatures creeping, flying, and crawling, as the invisibles reveal themselves to him. When he points them out to others, he is mocked and beaten. A man picks him up from the street and has him bathed and clothed. The man's name is Albert, and his mansion is a place of love and song. Our young hero performs his plays and sings to him for days and nights, and they eat fruit and drink wine. Albert introduces his friends. In the young man's dreams they are all dancing together. But the dreams lie. It was you. You brought me here. You asked me to sit down and talk. We spoke of the future of the world. I have the right to refuse. You said so and smiled, and then you butchered me like a pig. One hangs from the ceiling. You buried my body in unholy ground, without priest or consecration. Now dreams are all I have left. I gaze out over the audience in the Palais Royal. I dance with the princess. I eat cake. I look up into your eyes, Albert, and I'd let you take my dirty hand. You summon me to Peary's Inn. You make me a villainous proposition, and I decline. You cut me up. I scream, not wanting to die. At last, you are back. Welcome. As she finishes her story, the Revenant appears in the room. His undead body stinks of decay, and the entire building starts to shake as if hit by an earthquake. He whispers again, "Welcome," and the word vibrates in the room, lingering like a bad taste in the mouth. Then he howls and launches itself at you. You need to make a fear test. That's empathy or logic.
Okay.
You need 2 successes. So you got 1 success, but you needed 2 successes. So you take 1 condition,
Okay.
a mental condition, then you will roll a d6, and you will panic or be terrorized for that number of rounds. He passes straight through your body before dissolving and vanishing. Now, we're going to come back to Franz. So, Franz, what do you do? Something has happened to you, but the others are not aware.
I think I stalk out of this room, Nora's room, and I approach Olas, and he can see I have terrible intent in my eyes, and I get my rifle slung off my back, and I attempt to butt him with my rifle.
Okay. That will be a close combat roll. You got one success. Oh, let me get Olaus up here. There we go. He will take one physical wound as you butt him. He is not expecting it, and it knocks him to the ground. There it goes. Say it's not updating. Knocks him down to the ground, and at that moment the door to Sammy's room burst open. Oh, it's all happening now. Sammy comes out of his room ridden with guilt. He says, "Oh, I am guilty. I have done it. I must pay for my crime. Ah!" And he runs fleeing down the hallway and down the stairs. And you hear the door to the inn open as he runs out. You hear the tromping of his feet as he runs out towards the stables. Now, I believe after one round, I believe
Yes.
that is finished, correct?
Yes, so after I attacked my companion, the spirit or creature, whatever, loses control of my body.
Give me an observation roll. Do you want to push that roll?
I will push that roll.
Okay. So you'll take one mental condition.
I'd say it was well worth it.
Because you got two successes, I'm going to say you actually don't take the condition. But it was almost as if you felt something leave your body a split second before Sammy came bursting out of his room. And you are then aware that Valentina has been screaming in the attic up above you. You did not hear that before, but the way the timing worked is you encountered whatever the creature was, began screaming. You had basically been enthralled by something, attacked poor Olaus, and then it left you and entered the body of Sammy and sent him scurrying out of the building into the storm.
Well, I will say, Olaus, my apologies, friend. I was not myself. Something had taken control of me.
He's holding his face, his nose bloodied, and spitting out blood from his mouth. Whoa. Sammy just left. He left.
I know, I believe he was enthralled, but what took control of me? Get yourself, manage your wounds there. My apologies, friend. I'll hand him my handkerchief, and then I'm going to dash after Sammy.
Is it a clean handkerchief?
It's a clean handkerchief. I am a gentleman, so...
Perfect. So he holds it up against his face. I must wash out this wound, and he goes into the room where there's a small basin of water so he can tend to his wounds. So you go after Sammy.
Yes.
What does Valentina do?
So Valentina is up in the attic. She has just...
And all the lights go out. It's completely dark.
Right, so she's just encountered this creature, spirit, whatever, and she turns her attention back to Sophia, and I'm guessing Sophia has stopped the shadow play by now.
Yes, and she looks at you like she doesn't know what just happened. That's never happened before.
So Valentina will stand up from the carpet and quickly walk over to where Sophia is standing and take her by the hands, and she will say, "Sophia, what happened here? What happened to your mother? Why is your father so upset about all of this? What is going on?"
Do you have that key?
I'm afraid my companion has the key. What do we need it for?
My mother's journal.
Her journal. Is it in the room?
Yes.
Your mother's room?
Yes.
Well, I believe it would be unlocked by now.
Let us go down and... Oh, if my father catches us, we're in trouble.
Well, let us go anyway.
As you go down, you see a small puddle of blood fresh blood on the ground outside of or just below the stairs, outside of Olaus's door. You see just the tail end of Franz bolting down the stairs, and you see the door to Nora's room wide open.
Sophia will just charge on to Nora's room with guiding Sophia by the hand.
Give me a learning roll when you get into the room. Excellent. You discover a handout. Nora's journal. Now there's a lot here. I'm going to go ahead and read it.
All right.
I'll send you the picture. You can kind of scan it as you will.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get reading. January 15th. I saw it again last night as I was on my way to empty the widower Rutger's chamber pot. The candle in my hand went out, and, standing still in the dark corridor on the second floor, I could hear the floorboards move. Someone was walking toward me. I whispered my husband's name, and an unknown voice responded with a word I couldn't understand. The hairs on my arms stood up, and the blood throbbed in my veins. Finally, I dropped the pot and ran downstairs. My footsteps woke several of the guests. I had to spend more than an hour on my knees scrubbing the stench of Rutger's excrement off the floorboards. Sammy was angry. I didn't tell him I'd seen a ghost. It would be adding fuel to the fire. 2 days later. Do I really have myself to blame? I know what I did to Sammy, but that was almost 20 years ago. He gets so different when he's angry, and I go mute with fear, whilst he demands answers. Perhaps I should know better than to upset him. But all I did was suggest that the sudden falling apart of the inn might have occult causes. I definitely shouldn't have mentioned the ghost. Now I won't be able to show myself to the guests for a week. The bruises around my neck can be concealed with a collar, and no one can see the pain in my chest and stomach. But my left eye is purple like a plum, and my nose is swollen. I fear for Sophia. She is so much like me, and I'd like to tell her everything, but I'm afraid of what Sammy would say. He wants to eradicate all things artistic and sublime from his daughter's body, that which came from me. January 31st. I mentioned my nightmares to Sophia, and it turned out she's been having the same dreams. A man being killed, the murderer sneaking up behind him and cutting his throat with a knife. The body is buried in unconsecrated ground, and suddenly it is my body in the grave. I've been buried alive and can't get out. All I want is revenge or peace in death. I wake with a scream. February 7th. The fourth time I saw him, I understood what he was whispering. It's not a word but a name. Peary. After spending several days pondering the matter to Sammy's great annoyance, I remembered where I'd heard that name. Sammy's grandfather, who used to run this inn, was named Peary Harjula. There are lots of old letters in the attic. Among them I found a stack of messages, all signed with Peary's name, written in code and addressed to someone in Uppsala. The code was easily deciphered, and now I've shut myself away in my room all morning, reading Peary's love letters. Sammy is furious that I've neglected my duties. He's banging the kitchen walls and throwing saucepans against the floor. Poor Ingele. February 8th. I now know who the dead man is. Peary writes of his guilt and feelings of remorse over a murder he committed. He killed a man named Oskar Hjort by slitting his throat. This happened during a meeting with 3 people from Uppsala. One of them was named Albert. Oskar was unwilling to cooperate, but what he was meant to do I am unsure of. They buried his body somewhere in our garden. Peary says that, instead of having a priest consecrate the ground, they desecrated his body with magic. He fears that he has damned the inn and condemned himself to hell. March 1st. Sophia has been quiet and withdrawn for some time now. I sat down to talk with her, and she told me that she dreams of setting up a theater. She wants to put on shows here at the Witch Cat. I think it's a brilliant idea. I have sent an invitation to the Troll Dreams theater troupe, mostly to attract customers, but also to inspire Sophia. They will pass through here in early April. This time I won't let Sammy get his way. March 19th. Sammy saw the letter from the theater director, and as I'm writing this, I have hid in the stable like a naughty child. He hit me with the fireplace poker. Everything went black, and I woke up on the floor. I lost the feeling in the fingers of my left hand, and they are still numb. Blood, saliva, snot, and tears are running down my face, so I need to keep this paper away from my body to avoid staining it. I'm so scared. April 3rd. The last entry. If I stay here, he'll kill me. Tonight I'm packing my things, and I'm taking Piri's letters with me. I'll show them to Sophia when I come for her. Perhaps we will return to the witch cat one day, when Sammy has died or come to his senses. Then we can go looking for ghosts together.
So I'm getting the suspicion that Sammy has committed a very serious crime.
Sammy or Sammy's grandfather?
Well, I suppose both of them.
Well, Sammy beat his wife, but the grandfather sounds like killed somebody.
But I was assuming that what's her name, Nora, had left with the theater group, but in the letters it says she would have taken Sophia with her, and apparently Sammy was very angry about the letter she sent, so I'm kind of getting the suspicion that Sammy might have killed her before she left.
It's very possible. Yep, the last entry, it sounds like if she stays here, he'll kill me. Tonight I'm packing my things and taking the letters with me. So maybe something happened.
Yes.
And maybe Jonathan, the friend in the bar that told you that the wife had died of illness, maybe that was just what Sammy was telling people.
Possibly.
Let's get back to Franz. Now, Franz, you're chasing after Sammy, correct?
Yes, I am.
You make it outside, and there's a chill in the air. It is late fall. There's a light snow is falling, kind of dampening sounds. Give me an observation roll to see if you can follow the tracks. Do you want to push that roll?
I'll push that roll.
So you can follow the tracks, but it takes you some time. And after a few minutes, you notice that the tracks seem to lead to the stable. And as you head over to the stable, you walk in and you see a man hanging from the ceiling. He swings gently inside the stable, hung from the neck by a rope. His body slowly rotates around, and you see the words written in blood on his chest, Piri the traitor. Make a fear roll, empathy or logic. So you do not sustain any penalties to this, any conditions. You have seen ample dead bodies in your time in the Navy. I believe you were a war hero as
Indeed.
well. But it is still chilling to see this man that had served you dinner but a few hours before now hanging from the rafters of the stable.
Well, I think I'll get him down. Perhaps it hasn't been too long since he did this. Perhaps he could be resuscitated.
You get him down. You make a medicine roll.
I'd imagine it had only been a few minutes before I was able to find him. And I'll push that roll.
Okay. You get him down and you feel for a pulse, and there is none. You begin to kind of press against his chest, hoping to get his heart beating. And his head, you notice as it rolls, as you're moving his body, it is as though it is on ball bearings, as though his neck has been broken. And you see the steam rising off of his body, You look at your hands where you've been pressing on his chest. You've smeared the words Piri the traitor that was written in blood, and now that blood is on your hands. But this man is dead.
While I'm in there, I will just call out and see if it is still here. Just, spirit that did this, I have the sight, and I wish to speak with you. Why are you so intent on causing harm to this innkeeper, this man?
You see the shadowy form begin to build itself from motes of dust, and straw and dung begin to swirl around in the air until you see the semi-transparent image of something that looks man-like standing before you. His voice rattles as he says, "Now Piri has paid. Now you, Arthur, will pay as well."
Why must I pay, if I may ask, spirit?
Because you killed me. It was you. I have only lain dead here for a few moments, but I will have my vengeance. Give me a manipulation roll if you're trying to talk him down. You notice that he called you Arthur, and he was talking about Piri, but it was Sammy that just hung himself, not Piri. Piri, this was 50 years ago that Piri was alive.
I will.
And this Arthur, you have no idea who this Arthur is. Of course, someone who read or received information about, or listened to the play would know. Sorry, that there was an Arthur in the play that was the friend of this Oscar Hjort.
Well, I will mention, I'm not Arthur, nor do I know anyone named Arthur. Of whom do you speak?
It was you that slew me here at the Witch Cat Inn.
I've never been to this inn before now, so it could not have been me.
You tell lies. My body lies in the cellar, in unconsecrated ground. I shall not rest. Make let's see. Make a force roll. I curse you. And you are struck by extreme cold, which deals 1, 2, 3 points of physical damage to you, as your entire body is racked with the chill of the grave. Your teeth chatter in your mouth. Your skin peels tight on your body. Your heart begins to surge, trying to pump enough warmth through your body. Already your hands and fingers are growing numb.
I will say to the spirit as it does this, this body that you feel is unconsecrated, if I were to have it buried properly, would you feel satisfied?
He pauses. I will take you to my body. And he walks out of the stable. You're still covered with chill air, and takes you to the root cellar. It's a small dome of earth with a door that leads down dirt and wooden steps into a small dugout about 10 feet below the surface. As he leads you to the door, I lie down below the ground in here.
I will enter.
What do you do, Valentina?
Well, after reading all of Nora's journal entries, I will rush out of the room and follow where I saw Franz running out. Maybe I can see that he has gone to the stables. Maybe I run into him while he's walking out, and Yes, I will meet with him.
Yep, you see him standing outside the root cellar, and the door is open, and he's looking into the cellar.
Yes, so I will approach him, maybe lay my hand on his shoulder, just try to get his attention.
Give me a fear roll as you feel a hand on your shoulder. So empathy or logic. You take 1 mental condition. And he flinches as you touch him. And he turns and looks at you with a look in his eye as though he has seen something terrible. Now, the passageway lies open before you down into this cellar. You see a huge dark cave that appears vastly larger than a root cellar. As you climb down the steps, each wooden board beneath your feet creaking, you see shelves of food crawling with maggots, insects, and rats. There's a strong wind blowing down through here, and fragments of Oscar's voice are constantly heard whispering and shouting, "Halbert, my right to decline. You were everything. You let Piri kill me. Katja Hilma. My name is Oscar." And you have a vision of Oscar as a human standing before you in the cave. He is a young man with expensive clothes and eyes glittering with love. He looks to the side at someone who cannot be seen. Then his neck bursts open as if cut by a knife, gushing blood, and Oscar falls to the ground. He tries to scream, but only lets out a gurgling sound. His body decays in an instant and is covered with writhing maggots. Everyone make a fear roll. Empathy or logic. You need to beat a 1. You will take another mental condition.
If I take any more damage, I will die.
So, well, you don't die. You're just broken. So are you at 3 mental and 3 physical?
Yes.
Okay. You'll take another mental. You hear a voice in your head that says, "I am buried here." And you see the body that is covered in maggots just kind of dissolves into the ground, and the ground begins to surge and writhe as the maggots burrow down. What do you do?
Being in such a terrible condition, Franz is going to usher Valentina to help him carry this body outside and towards the church that we could see as we got to this inn.
Give me a force roll, both of you, to dig up this body. The ground is not frozen here. It's low enough below the level of frozen ground, but it will take some effort. How about Valentina? Can you do a force roll? Excellent. With 2 successes, as you dig down, it's quite shallow. About 8 inches down, your hand scrapes across the first bone, a long leg bone. And you begin to prise up this body bit by bit, bone by bone. There's a burlap sack with potatoes in it, and you dump out the potatoes and begin to fill it with the bones of Oscar Hjort. And finally you find the neck vertebra and the skull, and you see there's a huge scrape across one of the vertebrae as though his throat was slit with great force, nearly beheading him. You put these into the bag and you begin the trek over to the church, roughly 2 miles away. The wind howls at night. The moon and the stars are visible up in the sky, the only lights guiding you. Shortly before you arrive, you see the aurora begin to lighten up the sky. Green wisps of haze above the ceiling. You reach the church grounds. The gate is open. Give me an observation roll, Valentina. As you enter in, it takes you a moment, but you find the small cemetery on the church grounds. There is no shovel around. You will need to dig this by hand, and it may take you several hours to get it deep enough to break through the frozen ground. Give me a force roll.
I do have a saber on me, so would that help?
Yes, so I'm going to say that gives you a bonus as you kind of cut a large rectangular patch in the yellowed grass of the cemetery to pull the sod off. So go ahead and as you make a force roll, you can add a bonus to that. You probably don't want to push that.
No, I do not.
Did you make a force roll as well, Valentina? So it takes you until dawn. By then you are shivering with exhaustion and cold, but you have dug the ground deep enough. You have this bag of Oscar's bones. What do you do?
Well, perhaps I open the bag and start. I guess.
Just dump it in like you're dumping out potatoes?
Well, I would like to be gentle because this is I would say, aggressive spirit. I don't want to offend him anymore.
Do you lay them out in a particular way?
I don't know, maybe I try to reform the body somewhat with the bones.
Okay, I like that idea. In fact, if you want, you can make maybe an inspiration roll. Oh, yes. Excellent. So, as you lay the body out, you cross his arm bones and hands across his chest, and you hear at that moment, you think it's almost the wind blowing through the granite tombstones, but you hear something that sounds like, "Thank you." And you begin to scoop the dirt over the body. As dawn takes over the sky, you've got a 2-mile walk back to the Witch Cat Inn. And you take a moment to appreciate what you have just done for Oscar Hjort and for Sophia and Nora. But you lament to know that back at the Witch Cat Inn, Sophia has undoubtedly discovered her father on the floor of the stable. And as you look at one another, you ask yourself, is she better off now than she was before? No one knows. And that is the end of the Dance of Dreams. Now, you get to do some advancement rolls for experience points. So there's a questionnaire. So the first question is, did you participate in the session? I think you both could say yes to that. Did you confront any Vaesen? Yes, you did. So that would be 2 experience points. Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? You have never discovered a revenant, which is what this was before, so that's 3. Were you affected by your dark secret? I don't think either of you were.
I wouldn't say so.
I wouldn't think so. I don't think you were. Do you think you were, Valentina?
Well, perhaps I was. I was thinking when Sophia was showing me that play about people...
about a crime or something happening?
Very serious crimes, murders. That does play into my dark secret a little bit.
I'm going to give you that one.
Okay.
So, that's 4 for you. Did you take any risks to protect other people? And I think that's yes for both of you. So that's 4 and 5. Have you learned anything, and if so, what?
We did unravel the mystery of what happened to this
I think you did.
Family.
And potentially what happened to Nora. And last, did you perform an extraordinary action? Extraordinary is kind of hard to define. I'm going to say...
I did confront a spirit.
I'm going to say yes, because this is the first time that has happened. So that would be 5 experience points for Franz and 6 for Valentina. Now it takes, I believe, 5 experience points to raise a stat. And you can raise any one of your skills, or I believe you can take another hidden talent. So then the question becomes, what do you want to do with that? You want to raise a skill?
Perhaps I will raise a skill. Perhaps my investigating this mystery, has improved my my investigation abilities.
Okay. So you could raise that by 1. What about you, Valentina?
Well, perhaps I would raise my manipulation. I was able to get that key from Sammy.
That was quite well done.
Yes, as well as get more information from Sophia about her mother.
Yes. So you can go ahead and raise that up, and then you will retain that 1 experience point that will come into play during the next session. So that is the end of the Dance of Dreams, our first adventure by ourselves into the world of Vaesen. I'm going to give you each a moment just to say kind of what you thought of the adventure, what you thought of the experience. Valentina, I will let you go first.
Well, I did have a lot of fun. I thought, I guess the ambiance of the setting, this rundown in kind of haunted vibes, and I did really like the shadow theater. I thought that was a really cool kind of creepy aspect of it.
Yep, I agree.
I would have liked to know more about I guess what happened to Nora, if Sammy did kill her or if she just died with the...
So the adventure actually doesn't say. I think it's implied that she ran away and died, but I really like your idea better, so we're going to go with that, because I think that's actually a cooler outcome.
Yeah. I was getting a lot of that from her letters, so I just thought, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did have a lot of fun, and I really do like this game.
It was a lot of fun. I don't think you guys used your advantage at all. I don't think that really came into play. You had ranged combat, and you instead engaged in melee combat, Franz. And what was yours? Your +2 was on...
It was on investigation, I think I chose.
Right, and I don't know that ever came into play either, so something we can work on. Franz, what was your experience? What was your opinion of the game?
Oh yes, definitely very fun. Always do enjoy Vaesen, and it was a very interesting story, and I look forward to playing again.
Yes, will you reprise Franz for the next adventure, or will you play someone else?
Oh, I'm sure I will stay as Franz. I have already leveled up some of his skills, and so I'd like to stick with it.
Sounds excellent. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and I will let you two have the final word.
Happy playing! Thanks for playing with us.
Thank you for watching.